Hello and welcome to Card Shop Insiders, a podcast where we combine decades of experience from both sides of the counter to take you inside the business of local game stores and collectible gaming hobbies. I'm Noah and I play games, lots of them.
You're getting better at that introduction. I'm John. I'm a 26-year veteran of the industry. Let it rip, Noah. Let's go.
Well, with our combined perspectives, we are ready to take you inside, so let's go ahead and jump in. John, we've got news today. It looks like over the spread of news we've got here, we got a lot of stuff that I put in under Magic. There's a generic thing I put in that is a Magic topic. Let's cover some of the short ones real quick. Star Wars, any new news on when to schedule this Shore Showdown?
Time out. I didn't tease you about you. Was that a basketball score or was that a football score the other day? What was the score? Huh?
I don't do UNC football. I'm a Notre Dame football fan like you are.
Yeah, well, we won. Thank God we won.
But wow.
What was it, 70-50?
Okay, but best college football play of the weekend was that BYU punt return against K-State. Did you see that yet? You got to look that up.
How many yards did he go?
Well, like 130 if you count all the backwards running he did.
That's good.
He muffed the punt like up over his head and tipped it with his fingers. So then he had to go recover it running the other direction. He ran all the way back to the one, all the way across the field, and then all the way down the other side.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. All right, folks, welcome to the Sports Podcast. Back to the card game podcast.
We could segue into the stuff we need to segue into.
There was competitive card gaming over the weekend, so maybe we can start there with Lorcana instead of Star Wars. There were two major tournaments this weekend. There was the Disney Lorcana Challenge in Birmingham, England, and then there was the Disney Lorcana Challenge in Las Vegas. Overall, there were about 4,000 competitors split between the two events, fairly evenly, like 1,900 and 1,935 or something like that. Big tournaments, 9 rounds of Swiss play, that's the top 64. Lots of prizes given out. People were really excited to be playing in both of these with the news about what's coming up for continental and season championships. And so there was kind of a new energy with that, and people were playing for these specific invites. So it was pretty exciting. Different decks won both tournaments.
Really?
Yeah. I felt like there was a decent amount of diversity, at least in the successful decks. Both tournaments had really similar like metagame deck breakdowns.
What was surprising?
So the winner gets a golden Mickey promo card, all of the promo cards for placing, and then they get a full set of the most recent set, foil, non-foil, and enchanted, I think.
Cool. That's good.
Yeah, I mean,
but no cash.
No cash, but they get an invite to Continental Championships, top 16, I think, for both. Got an invite to the Continental Championships, so they're filling those out, and no details on money for travel or anything like that. I mean, the Pokemon World system is obviously the most robust in terms of rewards and travel benefits for players that are qualifying. But Lorcana's only in its first year, and they're doing a decent job. I think they've run a fair number of events in North America. They've run less than Europe, and so the European Championship, there's some questions about qualifying and people that haven't made it in, but they've only had like 3-4 total tournaments. I think the number's going to be doubled for the States.
Well, that's good. That's encouraging to hear.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, the game is still really popular despite losing the digital client and set fatigue. I mean, they just announced last week, I think we talked about it on last week's podcast, that the Lorecast happened. They announced the new set. They spoiled a bunch of stuff. They talked about the new tournaments for championships. But, the spoilers are getting people really excited still, even though it's going to be like 6 sets in a year.
6 sets in a year. That's
great. I mean, they promised us quarterly sets. And so, like, they started last August, which means that they could squeeze in 2 sets last year.
Yeah.
But, like...
It was September 17th last year.
Was it?
Yeah.
So between September 17th and November 17th of this year, they're going to have 6 set releases. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's not
That
quarterly.
is. That is. Yeah. Too many.
I
And
mean,
we're going to talk about set fatigue later.
yeah, we'll get down to that. As talking about set fatigue, Star Wars is spoiling their next set, which comes out around the same time as the Lorcana set. People are really excited for it. It's got some cool like IP in it, good period of the Star Wars movie franchise and animated stuff. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Talking about stuff that's coming out uh, in the middle of the middle 2 weeks of November. There's going to be a new Magic set. There's going to be new Lorcana, new Star Wars, new. I think there's a One Piece coming out, and a new Yu-Gi-Oh, and a Pokemon, all coming out within a 2 week period.
Most of them are all in the same couple of days.
Oh, it's pathetic, and it's pathetic because of us as a small business. You got to get your finances lined up because you got to pay for all this stuff that within this short period of time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. Fortunately, I can do it because of the way I manage my system. But a lot of people I could see themselves getting into trouble already, or not being able to afford it.
What is the Yu-Gi-Oh, or not Yu-Gi-Oh? What's the One Piece set release in November?
I don't know. OP9, I think. That's all I know. I don't even know what the hell it's called.
I've got on their website they've got OP9 in December though, so that'll make it a little better for you.
All right. Well, maybe
they're not going to ship you One Piece anyway.
No, I'm not going to get it. That's another story.
Let's just talk about that.
Well, when we get to, you want to talk about One Piece now? We can talk about One Piece now. I got an email. Well, the hell with your show notes. I don't look at them anyway. I got an email from Bandai. It's they talked about, as previously informed everybody. I don't remember ever getting an email before. Starting from October next month, kits will be shipped to you directly from Bandai, not your distributor, which I find a little bit interesting because they've been using the distributors to get the kits out. The distributors have been charging for it. Okay. Now, Bandai doesn't have my credit card information. They didn't request any credit card information, but yet they're stating they're going to be sending out these tournament kits. So it lends me to believe that they don't trust their distributors to do this or the way they've been doing it. Because if you look on the internet, you'll find multiple tournament kits for sale on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's obvious that they're getting them somehow from the distributor, and these online sellers are putting them online. So maybe Bandai, in their own mind, is starting to say, "Hey, look, we got to look at this. We got to control a little bit better." And I'm hoping, with a big question mark, hoping that they're going to start shipping product direct and bypassing the distributor. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not sure if they're able to do so, but it is a possibility. And that'd be great because, as we talked about last time, I'm not getting any product at all.
Yeah.
I've been buying on the internet and paying outrageous fees, which means I have to turn around and up my prices in the store.
Yeah.
And it's just not fair to the person that comes into play or to buy a product. So hopefully Bandai will get their act together and do it the right way. But we'll see. The jury's still out in it. And that one online seller that I bought from a couple boxes, he's up to over 700 boxes now. And he keeps saying on his description, limited availability. But the limited availability was 500 and something at that time. Now it's over 700. Where the hell is he getting all this stuff?
The magical money.
Well, the distributors, the two distributors, GTS and Alliance Games, are taking care of their biggest customers first.
We talked
about that. And the little stores like us, or stores that want to start this, to help promote the game and to get more customers into the gaming business, they're not able to do so. They're they're on the same boat I am. They're buying on the internet,
Yeah.
and it sucks. It really sucks. Enough of my rant for
All
today.
right, we're back to focus on news. We didn't have a lot from Star Wars. I asked if you knew anything about the set championship. They spoiled the promo cards.
For the showdown.
Yeah,
Uh, the distributor has it. It's in my queue to be shipped.
super.
I don't even know when the hell we're supposed to run it because I haven't gotten any information on it yet, or at least I didn't see it yet.
I should have looked it up. It's kind of one of the things I've been helping with, but I didn't check it yet.
Yeah.
But I did see that they spoiled it in the kits at the broadcast last week. You know,
Okay.
FFG does their weekly Star Wars YouTube broadcast, and they opened one of the tournament kits last week and showed the promo cards. I will say, and this is just my personal opinion, I think the promo cards for this, they look good, but they're not as exciting as what we got for the first one. The first one was Mace Windu, who's a big time, like iconic main character. This time we're getting Dr. Evazan, who's like a niche, really nerdy character for those of us that are super Star Wars nerds. Like we think he's cool, but he's not like a Jedi or something that's going to get people's
It's
attention.
going to be interesting to see how many people we're going to get.
Yeah.
Again, I have to look at the dates. I'm not going to be. I don't know if I'm going to take the shipment this week
Mm,
because I don't have a lot, and I'll have to pay shipping on it.
understood.
But we'll see. Maybe I'll just wait till next week, have it delivered, and when I'm back from vacation, it'll be here. But we'll see. I haven't figured it out
I
yet.
will say, other Star Wars news, the new game Gen X stuff for the third set looks better than the last one did. I mean, they
But
keep
can I get it?
they
I don't know if I
no,
can get it.
they're not going to let you sell it, but they're going to tell everybody that you'll be able to sell it.
Yeah, that's BS.
Really nice playmats, and they're printing new playmats with an option to have the game spaces on them, like the
Like
game areas printed on them, which
like the
is
original two-player mat.
yeah, like
Okay.
but it's only a one sided one, so
Okay.
it looks really cool.
Yeah, but again, can we get this stuff?
We can hope. All right, let's talk. We got to go back to last week for the next piece of news. Magic: The Gathering's animated series has been revived by Netflix in the week since the last time we talked about it. Netflix has found a new person, the person who is currently the showrunner for Star Trek Picard, which was a huge hit on the streaming services. Terry Matalas will now be running the project, and they announced that they will shortly be releasing like some sort of a trailer or something for it too. I mean, it's
Last week you said no, right?
last week they announced that it was dead,
Right. Okay.
like gone
So
dead.
they pivoted
Yeah,
it.
they pivoted somehow. But I just thought that was funny. We talk about this pop culture thing, and then all of a sudden, magically back on. But let's continue down the line on Magic for a second. Dustboard, how did your pre-release weekend go, John?
Pre-release sucked
Oh
in
dear.
plain English. I haven't talked to my distributor, Jake, yet, or my sales rep, I should say, because he usually fills me in on how well some of the other stores do. Because that's one of the questions he'll ask. How did the pre-release go? I sold a lot of product. A lot of people took things home with them, but in-store attendance was not good. I mean, I had 21 people on Friday night, which is not bad, but Saturday and Sunday I had 2 and 3 people come in to play.
Did you
Which
sell out of pre-release kits?
no, I still have about half of what I
Okay.
bought. So that's fine because I mean I've already advertised. I'm going to give the players an option on Friday night if they want to do sealed, if they want to do a draft, or they can do either or. We can run two events, and people. I had already mentioned that I'm going to have some of the leftover. So it just depends upon their individual budget and what they want to do. But whatever, I'll take a case
Yeah.
which is 15 kits, and I'll open it for singles, and the promo cards that I'll get from it more than compensate for the per pack that I'm paying more for the kits. It's not that much more, but the promo cards usually there's 2 or 3 promo cards that are good, that are over $15, $20. I'll put it up in the case,
Yeah.
so that'll compensate for it.
So,
But it's set fatigue.
but the new
that's
Hold on, we're not on 17.
well, we
We'll
are
get there.
with Magic. Go ahead.
Well,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. What were you going to say?
no, I was going to say, so, with the new set coming out, though, we did pre-release the regulars. The retail sales open up on Wednesday. Is that right?
No,
Or Friday?
Friday.
Friday. So you got a week between the pre-release and then the big one, and then you've got this idea. Are you going to be able to sell out like you've done in the past with some of the other sets, or how are we feeling?
And I don't think I'm going to sell out. I did sell out of the bundles, but I only got six of them because they're coming out with that collector bundle thing, which is not coming out till October 18th, I believe. Now, pre-release weekend, I could sell everything that I had.
Yeah.
I just supposedly after the pre-release weekend is over, I'm not supposed to sell any retail product until the following Friday, which is the official release of the product.
Okay.
Uh, that's how it works.
Well, it doesn't sound like the retail part of the business was grabbing this for it. It just sounds like we didn't have a lot of people that wanted to play Dusk.
Right. I mean, again, people came in and they bought product to take home. Uh, all right, now can we go on to set fatigue?
I mean, I still got more news, but are you
Well,
going to make?
it's part of the
Are you
news.
making 17 a topic for the day? Or you,
No.
oh, yeah, let's talk set fatigue.
All right,
Tell me
set
about the fatigue.
I've heard from a couple of customers, and one of them used the term set fatigue.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. I said, he's right. They're just coming out with too many products too fast. He has said, we just had a Bloomberg pre-release, and now we're doing this. And he said, then we're going to have one in November with the what the hell is it? The foundation set that's coming out. And he said, he's got a decent job, but he said it's difficult for him to afford it. And he used the term set fatigue. People are tired of it. I mean, that contributed to a lesser number of people coming into the store. Plus, it was a beautiful weekend. We didn't have rain this weekend. It just rains during the week, and then the weekend it was fine. But
Well,
you know,
we've had a spell here of rain, so I can see why people might have had something
yeah,
they wanted to do.
yeah, that's understandable. And that's all I have with set fatigue.
Yeah.
But all the manufacturers are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the people on my side are still spending money.
all right. Let me ask you this question now. Are you increasing your budget or are you sticking with your budget and just stretching it out? So, in other words, instead of buying into four sets or six sets, you know, are you keeping your budget the same?
Oh no, I'm buying less of everything. Like
So,
I think
so you're not increasing your budget,
I no
right? Because you can't afford to
right.
increase your budget. That's the situation with most people.
Yeah.
They can't afford it. So the stores, in theory, are making the same amount of money. All right,
Well,
but stretching it out.
but the manufacturers are making more money because they're getting you to buy a bunch of stuff that stays on your shelf.
Yeah, again, you have to be
But that's
careful
you
because
have to manage that.
I I put in an order in the other day for six more bundles. And then over the weekend, I said, when I talked to my sales rep today, I'm going to say, scratch it. I don't want those six. It's not really a lot of money, but I don't need, a couple of $100 sitting on my shelf doing nothing.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, even though they come out with incentives, Wizards was great this time. In addition to the buy a box promo,
Mm-hmm.
they came out with if you buy a box, whether a collector booster box or a play booster box, you get a collector pack.
Mm.
So they sent us two, uh, well, the distributor sent it of, Wizards permission, two boxes of collector packs. So that was 24 collector packs.
Yeah.
I still have one full box of 12 and maybe two collector packs left. So 10 of those went out this week. It's an incentive, and I'm not sure why they did it. Maybe they realize that people are going to be reluctant to buy this set because it's not as good a set. I'm not sure. I haven't figured it out yet. But just judging by the sales, I mean, sales were okay, but they weren't. as robust as Bloomborough
Yeah.
or some of the other sets.
Well, let's talk set fatigue. Most Magic news we have is about new products that Magic is going to be sharing with the world over the next several months.
Ah,
All right. So last week we talked about Ghostbusters Secret Lair. They
yeah.
made an announcement that added more cards. There's three Ghostbusters Secret Lairs now,
Oh,
and
really?
they're not all Slimer anymore. So there's actually like Ecto One and Ghostbusters.
And they're selling them.
Who you gonna call?
They're selling them directly then.
Oh yeah, it's a off of their Secret Lair website thing. I mean, I still think that there's a large number of retailers that go in and buy a full allocation of those and then resell them for more than what they
Yeah.
pay for them. That's just not your business model, but that's the thing they're doing. They also announced there's going to be a Chucky set for Halloween coming out here, and they've got like Chucky dolls and stuff on them. That's not a movie I've ever been into, but I know what it is. Um, Other information at New York Comic Con this year, and in just a few weeks, October 18th, we're expecting to get the first previews and some more details about the Magic the Gathering and Marvel crossover for Universes Beyond that they're going to be releasing in 2026. So they're going to
Ooh,
start spoiling it now,
wow.
and we're all going to get excited and have to wait for a whole year. But
Is that a Disney property? I know some of Marvel is Disney. I
yeah,
wonder. So that is.
I mean, Disney owns Marvel.
But entirely?
Yeah, I think the Fox rights expired. Fox had
But
some,
isn't is some Marvel at Universal?
that was the Fox rights.
Okay.
There's a weird thing about the Mississippi River and what can and can't be on. Like literally, there's an IP deal that involves the Mississippi River being a demarcation line, and that's why like they put the Spider-Man stuff in Disneyland, California, but not in Florida.
Are you sure that Florida's not getting Spider-Man?
They are now,
Okay.
but back when they built all the stuff, they were
Okay.
still under this weird restriction that they had to build west of the Mississippi because of the rights that Universal bought. But now Universal's rights for that are expiring
Okay.
or have expired, and now Disney's going to bring they're making a whole superhero land and all kinds of crazy expansion stuff in
It,
Florida.
oh, they're villains.
Yeah,
Villains
well,
land.
that's first.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Disney podcast, folks.
Well, we
Back
are going
to
to talk about Disney because I've had a couple of customers that are asking about Disney because they know I go down there quite
yeah,
often, and I told them that you went down what 11 or 13 times one year
a
because you
lot
had
of times.
a lot of times. So we'll talk about that maybe just for our patrons.
Oh, we'll put that at the end.
Uh,
All right. Other thing, Q2 of 2025, so only 4 months, 5 months from now, they will be doing, I guess, what is it? It's actually September, so it's like 6 months from now. The Final Fantasy Marvel Universe is supposed to come out. So that'll be before Marvel, but that's going to be next year. And then exciting news from Mark Rosewater, head game designer for Magic. He says that there will definitely be a future premiere set going back to Bloomborough.
Going back to Bloomberg,
Yeah, we're going to have like Return to Bloomborough on Ice or something. I don't know.
that's going to be cool
Yeah,
because Bloomberg was a great set.
yeah. I thought it was great news for the game and for the
When's it
store.
coming out?
He didn't say.
He didn't.
No, he got interviewed and he's got a scale of like how likely it is that the IP makes its way back to certain planes, and apparently it got a 2 out of 10, and a 1 out of 10 is imminently going back, and 2 out of 10 is like it's going to happen, but not right away. So apparently we're going back to Bloomborough in a future set, and we can
Interesting.
brainstorm what that means. But I mean, obviously, because they did all the seasons and they didn't really like delve too deep into it, it's going to be winter themed.
That's interesting.
I mean, that's what I think.
That's going to be cool.
Bloomborough on Ice is what I'm calling it.
Bloomberg on ice.
I made that up.
I wonder if that's Disney on ice. Maybe they'll have some.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
similar. Maybe we can get a like ice skating program. Uh, all right, let's wrap up the news real quick. Two things. Yu-Gi-Oh! John 25th anniversary tins came out this last week.
They did well,
Popular product.
very, very well. The next set, or the premiere for the next set, is called Rage of the Abyss. And uh, we used to be able to do it only on a Saturday and Sunday.
Hmm.
However, Konami expanded it to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, October 4th, October 5th, and 6th. But since I'm on vacation, I'm not coming back until late that night on the 4th. I've scheduled my premieres for the 5th and 6th. And I do two. And the reason I do two, a lot of stores just do one. I do it to accommodate people who work on Saturday can only come on Sunday and vice versa. So that's what we're going to be doing right
Very
now
cool.
with this.
No, that's exciting, and that's a group of players that really does a good job to support
Yeah.
what you're doing. So I think it's great that you're able to get them the double premiere event. Um, all right, Pokemon. This might be a controversial topic to put off to talk about more in the future, but Pokemon released the embargo on media information about their new product, Pokemon TCG Pocket, which is a digital only version of the Pokemon trading card game. And I mean, it makes me feel like it's a direct competitor to paper cards. Like they're making it mobile. You open packs, you can buy packs, open them on your phone, cards stay on your phone. I mean, they've had this for years with their game that you can get packs because there's a little code in all the packs for their online client usually. And I haven't gone deep down the rabbit hole of what this means yet, but
So
I
it's essentially going to be the same thing as Magic Arena. They're going to allow you.
is
Yeah.
is what they're trying to follow. And I just thought that was an interesting thing to bring up here for you to share your thoughts on what it's like. The second or first, depending on which metric you use, biggest card game is going down this arena-esque rabbit hole.
Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to work out. Unfortunately, I don't have a big Pokemon clientele. I don't do tournament play. We went into this once before
Yeah,
because they're so damn hard to to deal with. And let's face it, people can buy packs at Walmart or Target or online cheaper than I can sell them to them for. And I have my loyal customers that come in and buy them, but it's not going to impact me as a small business that much. Now, some of the bigger stores that rely on Pokemon as one of their primary revenue streams may be hurting because of this. The customers are fickle. They're,
yeah.
they're fickle.
Well, one thing I'm interested in to see is for years, Pokemon has done specials and promotions with GameStop and other like non-card game stores, where if you go in, you can get a promo card and things like that. And I'm wondering if, like with this event, with this product, that they're going to somehow tie it to like stores in some way, whether it's the local game shop or whether it's GameStop or whether it's Walmart. I can imagine the Walmart Pokemon partnership, but
It won't be directly with Walmart. It's through the distributor who puts product in their, on their shelves.
yeah,
I don't know if anybody knows. I mentioned this once before, but Walmart does not own those products that come in on, the gaming products. It's a third party distributor that sets it up for them.
yeah.
And Walmart does not pay the distributor until it goes through Walmart's register, which most of the products are like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to impact that market.
Well, we'll find out. And I'll get some more details and maybe become a topic of a future episode about digital competition. Um, but I think that's what I have for the news today, John. You got anything else you want to do on news, or shall we jump over to talk about our main topic you've got queued up for us?
Now, let's talk about the main topic, which I'm going to change.
All right.
All right. Originally, I was going to talk about funding your business. It's funding your passion. Talk about capital, and how you should, what you need to do in order to start the business up as far as looking for money to start it up. All right. However, it's such an extensive topic that it would take two episodes probably to cover entirely. And I want to do it properly. I know we talked about this a long time ago when we first started talking, doing this podcast. We talked about some funding, and it was kind of like a superficial thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since I'm not going to be here next week because I'm going on vacation, we're not going to do a podcast next week. So I want to be able to do this podcast either in its entirety with this topic or split it out between two. All right, so I'm switching it around today.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is talk about the latest in retailing, and it's called untailing. All right. Let me see. To the long list of variations on the basic concept of retailing, we can now add yet another called untailing. Untailing is the definition is the practice of sales prevention by retailers. And you probably say, what the hell is he talking about? And Untailing's mission is to address crime in stores, specifically shoplifting and theft. Now, I looked at this article, and they talked about some of the bigger stores. If you notice, some of the bigger stores are starting to put a lot of their product behind locked cabinets.
Yeah,
Uh, if you go to Walmart, for instance, you go to the electronics department, most of that stuff is locked up now, and you have to find if you can find a salesperson to come over to help you to unlock it. That's the only way you can get it. You just can't grab it off the shelf anymore.
yeah,
And they have a policy now with cards. They will not take any cards uh, back as far as a return policy. You buy it, you own it. And Saks Fifth Avenue, for instance, in San Francisco,
hmm,
you have to have an appointment to go into the store. You just can't go into the store and buy something anymore. You have to make an appointment to go into that particular department
interesting.
because there's so much theft involved right now, and theft in a small store. Um, you have to be really careful. I mean, a big store, yeah, it's going to be. They call it shrinkage.
Yeah,
Where you're
it's
supposed to
lost.
have $10,000 worth of inventory, and at the end of the year, you're $1,000 short. Well, where the hell did that $1,000 go? Somebody could have been lifting it, put it in their pocket, and taken off with it. And it could be something as simple as a little kid grabbing, something off the shelf and putting it in his pocket. And this, I'll never forget this. When I was a kid, and that was a long time ago, I think I was 5 or 6 years old, my grandmother used to take me to New York City all the time or to Rye, New York. We used to ride the boat up the Hudson River to Rye, New York. So we went to I guess it was a five and dime store. And remember those little, what the hell were they called? The hole reinforcers, the little white things you put over the hole so the three ring, wouldn't
Yeah,
rip out. Well, as a kid, I was looking at them, and my grandmother said, "Put them down. You're going to drop it. You're going to spill them all over the place." So when we walked outside, I pulled this little box out of my pocket, and my grandmother said, "We didn't pay for that." And I looked at her. I said, "No." She said, "That's stealing, John. That's stealing." So she made me go back into the store. We walked to two blocks back, and she said, "You're going to tell that person that you took it without paying for it." And of course, I was mortified at the
yeah,
time, but I did it. But to this day, 73 years later or whatever, it left an indelible mark in my mind because I shouldn't have taken that stuff. It happens on occasion. I know there's little kids that come in that grab stuff and put it in their pocket, not thinking it's anything wrong with it. Uh, but I have a problem with some adults that do this. And if you have stuff all over the place as a retail store, you have to have adequate security. Uh, you know, because if you're made as an easy mark, they're going to tell other people, and they're going to continue to do this. That's one of the reasons I put up the security cameras, and I monitor those security cameras when I'm sitting behind the counter. There's not a lot to take outside of this area because most of my retail stuff is behind the counter,
yeah.
and I most of the people observe the counter. They don't come back unless I invite them to, but I still watch them, and I know there was one guy. And the reason I know this because he bragged about it on Facebook that he had, he went to a couple stores, he lifted a couple packs of Yu-Gi-Oh, or whatever, but then he got caught at Walmart
Oh,
with a shopping cart full of stuff. Okay, they stopped them. They never prosecuted them. They didn't do anything to them. They just took the stuff out and banned them from the store. And on Facebook, they showed a picture of him rolling the stuff out from the security camera. But as a small store, you're operating on a thin margin anyway. You cannot afford to have a lot of shrinkage. You're going to have some, but you got to watch out like a hawk.
Yeah.
And this article keeps talking about you know bigger stores uh, having more security, having more people walking around. I know at Costco they have somebody walking around that you're not supposed to know what they're doing, but they walk around and they observe people that are doing this and doing that. But if you notice, a lot more, especially the expensive stuff, is behind the counters now or locked cabinets. And computer stuff, you have to fill out a form. You bring it, you pay for it at the register. You bring it to the customer service person there. They go in the back room and they pull the article that the item that you need. So a lot of the stores are starting to be careful about theft, about shrinkage.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's basically it's a crime. It's a crime. Some businesses, some people just call it shrinkage. And this person that wrote this article said, I call it a crime. Uh, in the meantime, if you haven't seen Untailing in person, just wait a little bit. It's coming to a store near you. And as you get closer to the holidays, you'll see more and more of that happening. Maybe not at this store at this level, but some of the bigger stores, people don't have the money. They need a present for somebody, and they'll lift
Hmm.
it. I was talking to the person over at Food Line. She said it's unbelievable the amount of stuff that goes out of there that people don't pay for,
Yeah.
and it's sad. It really is, but it's a reflection of our economy.
Yeah.
And getting back to solicitation from what we talked about last week,
Yeah.
no sooner did the podcast end last week, and you left to go do your thing. Had a knock at the door.
Oh,
Some guy with a beanie hat on, with a Bojangles shirt on, and he says, "Can you lend me $5?" I looked at him. I said to myself, "I never saw this person in my before," and I just because I was closed, I just opened up the door a little bit, and I said, "Nope," and I closed the door and locked it real quick. And he stood there looking at me, staring at me, and then he took off. And then I got behind the counter and I flicked on the hallway camera, and I saw him hesitating, and I was curious if he was going to try some of the other stores, but I haven't seen him since.
fast.
Now, if you came in and wanted to borrow $5, I'd say no. I'd give you 250 or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, so in detail, and talking about the gaming space, I think you mentioned a couple things that are important takeaways for listeners that are trying to start a store. Uh, First of all, organizing your store in a way that minimizes exposed product. And what is exposed is stuff that is lower margin or older things that, you know, you're not going to lose your head if it goes out the door. It's not a collector's bag from the newest Magic set. But, you've got locked cases for your singles and your high value stuff.
Mhm.
You've got all your packs behind the counter where you can see them all the time. Uh, and the other thing that comes to my mind that you've talked about a lot before is your relationship with your customers, even new people that come in the store. Hey, how you doing? My name's John. I'm in the store. Hey, what's your name? There's an old psychology article about shoplifting that talks about it's a lot harder to steal from people, like if you know them and you have a relationship with them. And so that is one of the techniques that I think you employ in the store to disincentivize people from stealing. Like they're not going to take from you if they consider you to be their friend. But
Well, another thing is, and I know we talked about it before, people coming in that want to sell you stuff
yeah,
that damn well you've never saw this person before in your life. And I offer store credit only. And a couple of times I noticed some of the cards that came in uh, were fake. It's obvious that they were fake, or I got a call from another store owner saying, "Hey, John, just to be aware, such and such is on the loose trying to sell these cars that he stole from my store. So if he comes into your store, make sure you don't buy them because they're stolen." And that, I mean, that happens. That's human nature in some people.
Didn't it sound like we have a discussion about a local store that opened up, and one of their big draws was they had a set of power nine for Magic for sale, and that was allegedly stolen from their store.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if that was true though,
Okay.
because he had just opened a couple of months before, and he put a claim into his insurance company, and his insurance company actually called me and wanted to know what this value of the power of nine were. And I said, "Look, I don't look crazy at cards." I said, "But this is the online selling price for it." And they said, "Oh, okay." And I'm not sure if it was a legitimate claim, if he ever got paid for it. I know exactly who it was, but I'm not going to go into it because
Yeah, I
he's
mean, I'm not sure
he was a little wacky anyway.
anything besides just bring up the point that, like, that shop had a high profile, publicly displayed, like, easy access item that ended up missing.
Right.
And I think you got to take steps as a store owner, maybe not to the degree of this unretailing. You don't have to pay private security, depending on where you are. I mean, if you open up a bar shop in downtown San Francisco, I mean, you've got to have private security because that's just shoplift heaven right now,
Yeah,
right?
but the smart thing is if you have the power of nine, I don't know what the collective power of nine goes for now, but
Mm.
60,000 maybe, or 50,000. You don't want to leave it out in your display case overnight.
Yeah,
And if you have a safe, you're going to put it in a safe. That's the most prudent thing to do. I know the guy that around the corner here. He has a coin shop. He takes all of his coins every night and puts it in a huge bank safe,
hmm,
which is smart because it's easy to kick in a door and smash and grab before the alarm can be responded to. But yeah, you got to use your whatever God gave you as far as your intelligence to make good decisions as far as security is concerned. And another big source of shrinkage is if you have employees.
yeah,
I don't care how well you vet them. There's a convenience store that I go to for coffee in the morning, and I see new people all the time in there. And I'll say to the manager, "Whatever happened to such and such?" "Oh, well, he was stealing lottery tickets."
yeah,
Lottery tickets, or he was stealing cigarettes, or she was doing this, or they were selling drugs in the back room,
yeah.
or they were cavorting in the office with another employee that they got on tape. That must have really been interesting. Uh,
uh,
but we won't even get into that. But yeah,
that's good.
yeah, it is.
All right. That sounds like a wrap on that. Protect yourself, take actions, keep it an environment you want to be in, and adopt less of the retailing because it sounds like fun. What do you got for free keys today, John? Did you bring us anything?
Yes, I did.
All
But
right.
it's not going to be Snapple facts
No
today.
sample packs.
No Snapple facts today.
I mean, people are going to unsubscribe to you.
No, 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 no. This is something that everybody uses pretty much every day. Uh,
The
you know,
internet.
yeah. Well, no. Other than that, what road did you come down from work to work today?
What?
What highway did you use?
The interstate.
All right, so you're on the interstate. All right,
Are we talking about the interstate?
we're talking about interstate highways.
Nice.
And the reason I thought about this is because I'm going down to Disney next week,
Yeah.
and I remember as a kid going to Florida. Uh, before, let me see, I was born in '46. The interstate started becoming popular in '56, I think, Eisenhower. Uh, my grandfather took Route 1 and Route 301, and I can remember all those lights
Yeah.
stopping, and the interstate just changed all of that. I'm going to go to Disney. I'm hitting, let me see, I've got it written down here. I'm going to be getting on 40, I-40, down to, where the hell did I put it? I don't know. Down. down 40 to Smithville area, catching 95 all the way down to Jacksonville, and
Yeah.
then take the Jacksonville bypass, which is 495, I believe,
Yeah.
and then getting back on 95 to Daytona Beach and going down I-40 right into Orlando and Disney area.
I-4.
I-4, yeah, that's right, I-4. All, you know, all interstate highways.
Yeah.
And I don't, all right, the reason highways before 1956 with this new act that came out, and that's when Eisenhower was president. Eisenhower, when he was a young lieutenant, did some kind of a survey with the Army. He was, yeah, he was a lieutenant at the time, and they drove from wherever the hell they drove from all the way out to the West Coast, and it took them 66 days.
Yeah.
And the Jeeps broke down. They had terrible roads and stuff like that. So there was some talks in about putting in uh, interstate highways at that time. But when Eisenhower became president, uh, in 56, I guess it was, he realized the need to improve our highway, and that's let me see, what the hell was it called? The Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956, also known as the National Interstate and Defense Highways. And the reason Eisenhower thought about this, that he should push for it, is because of his experiences in Germany when he was Supreme Allied Commander, driving on the Autobahn, how easy it was to traverse throughout Germany on the Autobahn. And he
Okay.
said, we need something in the United States like that because the roads weren't as good. Uh, Again, Highway 1 and 301, we bypass, you go through every little town with every little light and so forth and so on. Right now, the highway is, let's see, um, let me see. The system extends throughout the contiguous United States and has routes in Hawaii, Alaska, and Puerto Rico. There is a little under 50,000 miles of interstate
Wow.
highway now. It's 48,890 miles.
Okay.
And the heaviest traveled is, what do you think the heaviest traveled highway is? Interstate highway.
In the whole country?
Vehicles per day.
95.
Nope. 405 in Los Angeles, California.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I can attest to that because
Yeah.
I used to do that all the time.
Well, that's the joke. The Olympics going to LA, right?
Oh
Have you
yeah,
seen the traffic jokes?
no, I'm sure it's
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 going to be awful.
it's going to be horrible. Um, and I remember as a kid, my grandfather, being a World War II or World War One veteran, said during when the highway was being built, he said every 5 miles is a straight 1 mile. But that's not true. I just found out this morning. Here for 70 something years, I believe that the highway was, you know, uh, 4 miles of curves and 1 mile straight. And the reason being is because it was said that with that 1 mile, they could use it as a landing strip in the event of military actions. But evidently, that wasn't true. And I'll read it. Let's see. According to urban legend, early regulations required that 1 out of every 5 miles of the interstate highway system must be built straight and flat so that it be usable by aircraft during times of war. There is no evidence of this rule being included in any interstate legislation. It is commonly believed that the interstate highway system was built for the sole purpose of evacuating cities in the event of nuclear warfare. While military motivations were present, the primary motivations were civilian. So let's face it, you go out to the mountains and you're not going to build through the damn mountain. You're going to go curve. So it's impossible to, now that I'm thinking about it, build, a straight, there are straight sections and that's for convenience only. But you're not going to move a mountain to build a straight section
Right.
of road.
Well,
But it was
you're going to build straight sections as often as possible anyway because it takes less material.
right, right. And this is interesting. The highest elevation of the interstate highway is Eisenhower Tunnel at the Continental Divide in the Rocky Mountains, Colorado. That's 11,158 feet. The lowest is minus 52 feet. That's I-8 at the New River near Sealy, California. And the lowest underwater is, let me see, 103 feet or something like that. I-95 into Fort McHenry Tunnel under the Baltimore Inner Harbor. That's the lowest, or underwater. Let's see. And the longest length of it is east to west is 3,020 miles, which is I-90 from Boston out to Seattle, Washington. So that's the furthest you can go. The shortest is Laredo, Texas. That's only 1.4 miles. Uh, and there's another short one in Queens, New York, I 878. And it was interesting. The most states served by an interstate, 15 states plus the District of Columbia, I-95 through Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, DC, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maine. That's the longest one as far as the states are concerned. And I also found out that each state is responsible for their own upkeep now. I mean,
That's why ours
ours are better because we're being taxed with
we
the
spend
well, with the extra tax for the fuel. Uh, but a
our
lot of states are putting tolls in,
yeah.
especially up in the north. If you go up to New Jersey, like I used to go up to New Jersey quite a bit, let me see, depending upon, yeah, about $20 at that time. Uh, yeah, it
So
question like $5 or $6 to go through Delaware.
all right, go story time. So a few years ago, I took the family to New York for a trip. We planned it out. We found accommodations. We drove, and we took a bag of orders with us.
Hmm.
And by the time we got to New York, we were out of quarters.
I believe it.
Like I had a gallon bag full of quarters, but the tolls through New Jersey cost so much that we were out of quarters by the time we got to New
I
York.
believe it.
And we went in the bridge to go into New York, or the tunnel to go into New York, and they stopped us for the toll. And like we were pulling out like nickels and dimes from a console because they're like no credit cards and they don't take our fast pass. And I'm like, why? Like
A lot of states are starting to adapt that fast
they've
pass
got
now.
to. I mean, especially with the prices they want. Nobody's carrying around 211 quarters. You can pay it 20. It was like $22 for one of the tolls I
You
paid.
know,
It was nuts. Anyway, all right. Fun stuff about highways. Do you know how they number highways?
no,
Did you know there's a pattern?
not really.
So east to west highways are by multiples of 10.
Okay,
And they start at the south of the country and they count up going north. And then north south highways end in fives, but they go up by 10. So
okay.
so 95 is like the furthest east. Like
So 495 bypass.
so three-digit highways are offshoot highways from a main interstate, and the first digit number tells you whether or not the road connects back to the highway you're getting off of. So an even number like 495 means that it's going to go off of, I think that goes off of I-5. So you leave I-5 and go back to I-5. If you stay on it, you'll go back and hit the same highway. But an odd number three-digit highway like 395 doesn't go back to the original highway ever again.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That gets confusing. Thank God you have GPS
though
when
I
it
mean,
works.
you got to be a really big nerd to know that kind of stuff. But
How did you know that anyway?
I'm a nerd.
Did you study my? No, it's not in these
It's
notes.
not in my notes. I'm just a nerd. Um, they also generally follow the convention that exit numbers match with mile numbers, But there are some places in the country where that's not true because of the overlapping exits with pre-existing highways. And so sometimes they don't follow that convention.
Hmm.
But most of the time, your exit number matches with the mile number of the mile marker where the exit's at.
You know, talking about tolls, going back to tolls, I am surprised that we have no tolls on Highway 85, Interstate 85, or 95 in North Carolina yet. I noticed, a lot of
Well,
the new roads that they're building, they have tolls.
the expressway was super controversial with the toll though.
Yeah.
Like people are not
I
happy
think
with
it's
that.
just a matter of time we're going to have tolls,
Mm-hmm.
going on 95 or 85, because 95 again is the most heavily trafficked highway in North Carolina, I think, and 85.
Well, I mean, if you go onto the internet and try to find like memes and joke reels, like there's a lot of jokes about the traffic, like driving from North Carolina to South Carolina, where people say like driving in North Carolina, and just driving along, and then they say arriving in South Carolina, and then they start bouncing
Are you
because
talking about the poor roads?
no, that's what the joke is that they don't maintain their roads as well.
Their roads are
And
terrible.
like North Carolina is one of the top like public roadways in the country. Like we spend lots of money making the roads stay smooth. And I mean, I've had jokes. There are parts of the roads around here that have been under construction since I was a kid. But I mean, they're
No, it's
always,
true. Look at I-40
I
right
know,
now.
they're always under construction because they're always making it smooth
Yeah,
again.
North Carolina roads in general are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I remember driving up to New Jersey a couple of times. I think it was in Maryland. I'm almost positive it was in Maryland. There were gaps where the lines are between roads that were as wide as your tire, that if you hit this rut, you'd lose a whole damn wheel.
They put signs on those highways in like Northern Virginia that say like motorcycles do not change lanes.
Oh yeah,
Like it's not safe.
I can imagine.
There's also so I drive through Ohio too often and over the mountains here from Virginia, West Virginia to Ohio. There's a stretch of highway in that where they have dips in the road. And if you're going like 70 or 80 miles an hour, which is like what the traffic's flowing at, I mean, you bottom out your car.
I can imagine.
And I haven't, I mean, I slow down, but I haven't figured out the ideal speed. Like these are not speed control dips. It's just a space where the road has sunk only in that spot and they haven't fixed it. So they put up a sign for $50 instead of fixing the road. But you can see like the chunks taken out of the road by other cars that have full bottomed out.
That's crazy.
I'm surprised I haven't seen somebody wreck there yet. I mean, I've seen some cars hit that hard. But
Well,
all right, back to your roads and traffic podcast. Anything else you want to do today on the free each other?
no, we're in good shape today, Noah.
All right, let's close this down. We'll do some gratitudes and then we'll wrap it up for the publicly available episode. Thank you all for joining us this week on Card Shop Insiders. We are grateful for your support and listening. And if you like the show, please subscribe, like, and follow us on all the different social media platforms. The podcast can be found on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. And you can follow us on social media at Card Shop Insiders on Instagram and X. We'd like to take a second to specifically acknowledge our paid Patreon members, Ben, Grant, Brandon, Logan, Drayden, Jake, and Brian.
Oh, I figured out who Brian was.
I'm glad.
He came in the other day, and I've seen him a couple of times. He's a relatively new customer.
He came in and bought your stuff the other day. He
Yeah,
posted about it.
and when I asked him for his information for the loyalty to rewards, he said, "Oh, Brian Johnson." I said, "Oh, you just subscribed?" He said, "Yeah, I did." I said, "I was wondering who the hell that was," and then we talked about Disney, because he had just gotten back from Disney, and that's what we're going to talk about after we close up for today.
Our Disney crossover podcast.
Yep.
All right. Well, if you want to interact with the show, a great way to do that is to leave comments on our YouTube channel because that helps us incredibly with their stuff in some magical algorithmic way. The other thing that you can do is that you can leave comments on our Patreon if you're a Patreon member. And we're going to, in our post-episode discussion, we'll address some of the questions and comments that are left by the Patreon group in that private video that goes into the behind-the-scenes video that's available to them. And you can join Patreon if you want to join Patreon. You don't have to. All right. Thank you, everybody. Until next week, we'll get you some more from behind the counter.
Actually, guys, it'll be 2 weeks behind the
Oh
countertop. I
yes.
won't be here next week. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you listening.